February 2003, Britain was under siege. The world was on the brink of war. George Bush was going head-to-head with Saddam Hussein. Only one event could knock them off the front pages. Fergie decked Becks.
It's one of these freak acts of nature that happens and it's over. I mean, it's what a freak, could never happen again.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
It's gone off, and he knows it's gone off, and the repercussions are going to be huge.
But this certainly isn't the first time a football manager has lost control, and when they do, anything goes.
What's Chicken Wings doing in the dressing room?
In this programme, we take a look at the maddest managers in football and the techniques that have got them to the top. Managing players.
It's a passionate game.
Liaising with fans.
I will strike you, I will strike you.
And talking to the press.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
We find out the craziest manager of all time.
And by the way, the pegs are very high at Aston Villa. It was a strange thing to see.
And we go inside the dressing room door and expose what really happens when managers go mad.
You got us in this fucking mess, now you get us out of it. That's what I'm saying, I'm finished. No more to be said, fuck off out on the pitch, the lot of you. Go on, get out. Come on then, come on, get out. Get fucking...
When David Beckham hobbled off the Old Trafford pitch towards the end of United's 2-0 FA Cup defeat against Arsenal, it seemed the only injury he'd suffer was a sore hamstring. But what followed in the Manchester United dressing room caused a national sensation.
Sir Alex Ferguson didn't try to deny it. He did kick a football boot that hit David Beckham in the head.
Danger, danger! What would have happened if the boot had been on the other foot?
David Beckham would have aimed it squarely at Sir Alex Ferguson.
Today he called it a freak act of nature.
And it's over. I mean, it's what a freak, could never happen again.
Danger, danger!
There's been no comment from the injured party, but Beckham bears the scar of his latest confrontation with his manager.
Even the Prime Minister threatened troublesome journalists with the boot.
A stack of football boots just underneath the table here, so...
Danger, danger!
The man who broke the story was journalist Neil Custis.
Once I'd heard about what had happened in that dressing room, you know this is massive. I mean, this is huge. This is the biggest manager in the country, in Europe, and the most famous player in the world. And one of them's kicked a boot at the other.
The manager's probably come in, lost his temper, and lashed out at the first thing that's got in his way, which happens to be a football boot.
Apparently there was just blood everywhere. Beckham couldn't believe it. He's going, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. And Ferguson's going, it's only a graze, fucking up your right.
Ferguson's going, of all the people.
Hats off to Ferguson. What he did requires a great degree of technical mastery, because like bored men everywhere, we tried it that weekend. And no one got hit in the eye. I think one cat got hit in the ear, but there was no blood. It's a very difficult thing to do.
If I tried it 100 times and 1,000,000 times, it could not happen again. If I did it, I carried on playing.
Later, we found out that there had actually been a confrontation between the two in which they had to be pulled apart. It's gone off, and he knows it's gone off, and the repercussions are going to be huge.
Bex went home and probably didn't want to make anything more of it. For Mrs. Bex was furious. It's just an image of him, of Posh dragging Bex by the ear down at Old Trafford. What did you do with my boy? Look at him. Look, how did he get like that? Explain it.
Yeah, I don't think that would have gone down well if Victoria had gone round knocking on his door saying, stop having a go at my David.
But Fergie refused to apologise.
It was a graze, and it's dealt with the doctor, there's no problem. And we move on. And that's all there is to be said for it.
Beck struck back with a photo opportunity of his own.
On the Monday, David Beckham drives out of his new residence in Alderley Edge and stops, and the photographers take pictures of him. The sunshade he normally has down is up. Clear shots of him. He decides to wear a hairband, scraping his hair back off his forehead to clearly show this cut on his head.
The hairband will have wound Ferguson up even more than the couple of little stitches, I think.
He might as well have had a big arrow painted on his face, pointing at it, going, look what that brute did to me.
If I never wrote another story again, I'd remember being the man who wrote Fergie decks Becks.
Dressing room bust-ups are nothing new in football. The manager has to ensure the players know who's in charge.
Do what you want, be positive, shots, crosses, get on with it. Well, just keep the fucking football.
The mark of the great manager. The first thing he does when he moves into a new club is says, right, who's the senior professional? Tommy, come over here. Bang, I'm in charge now. It's like the new sheriff in the town. You've got to shoot someone.
I've kicked boots at people.
It's a fucking man's game!
I've tipped a table up.
Get your fucking sleeves rolled up!
I've kicked cups of tea all over the place.
Let's get out there and fucking show them something!
When things aren't going well, you tend to find that managers will rely on tried and tested techniques of fear, of intimidation.
It can go a bit strong sometimes, but it's part of the fun.
You little I tell you to do something, and you fucking big I tell you to do something, do it.
If they think you're a soft touch, they would think, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. Training's easy. No, you got to instill, a bit of direction to the players.
If you want to lay down and fucking die, do it in your own fucking time.
And when managers fly off the handle, it isn't just football boots that fly across the dressing room. Following a post-match bust-up, Grimsby's Italian striker Ivano Bonetti was left with more than egg on his face.
If it's not bad enough, you're Italian, right? And presumably at one stage in your Italian career, you thought to yourself, one day Milan, one day Roma, one day Juventus. So you're waking up in Grimsby, so life's not fantastic.
Oh, no. Oh. The Grimsby fans worship Bonetti so much that they raised £50,000 to pay his wages. But manager Brian Laws didn't share the fans' affection for the temperamental Italian. And after a particularly poor performance, Brian decided to lay down the law.
When I see a player who didn't give 100%, I let him know. And if a player chooses to give a negative reaction, then obviously I'd lost it for that split second. But it does happen. Unfortunately, he got damaged through the incident.
Laws grabbed the nearest thing to hand and let fly with chicken wings.
What's chicken wings doing in the dressing room?
Post-match chicken wings? This isn't how we do it in Italy.
To this day, I don't know where this plate of chicken wings had come from. I do recall there was a plate with chicken maybe on it.
Laws throwing them across the room, the plate smashed into the side of his face. Cut, blood everywhere, shattered cheekbone.
Bonetti had fallen foul of the law and was rushed for emergency treatment on his face and his bruised ego.
Ivano Bonetti is recovering in a Grimsby hospital after an operation on a fractured cheekbone.
That's a bad day at the office when you get home. You're looking a bit shaky, dear. Boss threw a plate of chicken wings at me.
We understand the plate was thrown and I understand the chicken leg was thrown, but other than that, we're not sure what actually went on.
Well, his reaction wasn't the right reaction. It was negative, it was aggressive, and I just responded in that manner.
I have apologised to the club, the players, and Ivano Bonetti. And this is the end of the matter as far as Ivano and myself are concerned.
And are you happy that the handshake is now the end of the matter?
I think I'm a professional football and he is a professional coach.
Despite publicly making up, the press wouldn't let this finger-licking story drop, and Brian was forced out of his job.
Unfortunately, when somebody gets hurt, somebody has to pay the price, and I did.
And when the media spot a manager on the brink, they won't let go until they crack, right in front of our eyes. The post-match interview is one of the best times to find out if a football manager is losing control.
Right now, right here, right now, right here, right now.
Graham, your thoughts on a very disappointing night for you?
Yeah, well, as you know, Jeff, I'll always come in front of the camera because I think that's got to be done.
You're still wound up, but you have to try and stay as calm as possible.
But on this particular occasion, I'm not prepared to answer any questions.
As soon as the final whistle goes, they are thrust into the media spotlight.
You know that the reporter will say something to you that will wind you up to a degree where you'll snap.
All of my talking as from now is going to be done in the dressing room.
I just ignore it. I laugh at it, actually.
Not in public.
After the game, and the camera's put in the face, they sort of can lose it from time to time.
The people who stay cool, I think, avoid it and get through it.
Graham, can you not talk to us about the game?
While some choose to walk away, others stay to fight their corner. After seeing his team lose a crucial relegation battle, the usually jovial Big Ron Atkinson was interviewed by Sky's Andy Gray and Richard Keys.
Big Ron, bit chippy, bit smart,
overly clever, I thought, for a team that had just been beaten and in big trouble.
Ron, you said before the game you would get out of it what you deserved. You've got nothing.
I just kept chipping away.
Where now for yourself and Coventry?
Well, I don't think anybody would have to think that we deserve something from the game.
And then again, Richard interrupts and says, hold on a minute, Ron.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm sitting next to Andy, Ron, who disagrees with you.
Andy says, and I've gone, me?
He felt you deserved to get nothing out of it tonight.
I'm sorry, you can sit there and look and play with all your silly machines as much as you like. I'm manager of a football team. I'm an experienced manager. Yeah, if the boys hadn't done enough, I'll whip them. But I ain't whipping them for that tonight.
And then, of course, he remembered who the man of the match was.
Who won the man of the match award?
He went,
Dave Besant won the man
Oh,
of the
sorry,
match
so he must have played not bad then.
I thought, well, no, he's got a point.
Thank you very much, lads. See you later.
And he threw his cans like that, and Ron goes after it, because they hit one of our guys.
Caught Jeff in the face with them and said, oh, sorry, stop to apologise.
But the undisputed king of post-match interview madness is Kevin Keegan.
Some sort of ray that comes out of cameras that just triggers him off. Whoa, what's yours?
To those that would say, perhaps you should have shut up shop earlier, you say, no, we carry on playing this way.
Yeah, or I go.
Keegan's passionate nature makes him an easy target for both the media and other managers, particularly wily old fox Alex Ferguson.
He had Keegan sussed straight away. Everybody else could see it, though. That's the whole rest of the country could see what Ferguson was doing to Keegan.
During the 1995-96 Premiership season, his Newcastle team were challenging Fergie's Manchester United for the title. Fergie implied the teams wouldn't try as hard against the Toon as they would against Man United.
Well, this again was the time when you recognised that actually Ferguson was just more than just a manager.
Let's just wind him up a little bit. Let's get that wooden spoon out.
Keegan took the bait in a live post-match interview.
Kevin, good evening to you. How do you feel tonight?
I feel okay.
I just sensed that he had something to say, that there was something bothering him. And I was getting pushed on in my ear because of times constraints that obviously we needed to be off the air.
We never really got passing it, we gave it away.
And I thought, no, just for once, I'm not going to, because he's got something to say here.
Why was all that happening, Kevin, do you think? Tension on the night?
Yeah, I don't think you can discount it. I mean, we just want to keep our hopes alive.
And then he just went.
A lot of things have been said over the last few days. Some of it almost slanderous, and we've never commented.
As soon as Kevin went, we both went and looked at each other. But he'd gone.
Keegan just lost his temper, you know. He had the headphones on, his grey hair, and his eyes. Look at his eyes like that.
You've got to send Alex Ferguson a tape of this game, haven't you? Isn't that what he asked for?
You could see him, like, the veins coming out his neck, like that sort of thing.
And we're playing Notts Forest on Thursday, and he objected to that.
And he couldn't actually get the words out because he was so angry.
I mean, that sort of stuff, we're bigger than that.
I think the pressure had suddenly got to.
It's all about intimidation. It's about saying, you know, I've got your number and I'm better than you.
But I'll tell you can tell him now, if you're watching it, we're still fighting for this title, and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
I'd love it.
Love it.
I would love it.
Love it if we beat them.
I would love it.
Love it.
Oh my God, Keegan has just lost it totally. You can imagine Ferguson just watching it and thinking, yes.
It certainly raised a smile in our dressing room, that was for sure.
I would love it. I mean, they'll put that on his gravestone, poor Kev.
In When Football Managers Go Mad, we take a look at the balmy antics of the man on the touchline. The football manager faces a constant battle to keep control of his players. His greatest weapon in this conflict is fear. As David Beckham knows to his cost, Alex Ferguson is an expert when it comes to terrorising his players.
Fergie rules with an iron rod.
Sure, his players are physically quite scared of him.
Of all the games you've played, I've just got to win this one.
He makes it very, very clear that he don't want any trouble. He lets you have a few drinks, but he emphasised, I do not want any trouble.
It's a night where you can relax and play, but win.
Samuel Carroll, Samuel Hammer, but he gets the best out of him.
You don't want to cross him, because if you cross him, you're out of Man U, and you don't want to leave Man U.
Just look round the dressing room. Just look round the dressing room, you say to yourself,
Well, I'm glad I've got my team.
I think sometimes he may come in and just explode, just to sort of rock everyone a little bit and get them on the toes.
I wouldn't say beat there, but how you put it, encourage them always better.
Fergie's most notorious intimidation tactic is known as the hairdryer. But what exactly is it?
I think the Ferguson hairdryer treatment, as far as I understand it, involves Ferguson stood there in front of your face, shouting at you for a prolonged period of time, in the process drying your hair.
You can always tell the players that have been told off by Fergus, the next day they come in with the hair just all back like that, you know, all like that. Had a little meeting with Fergie, yeah, and all the hair's just gone straight back, you know.
When I first heard about that, I actually naively thought for a moment, that's quite nice, really. It'll touch up at half-time, it's very sweet of him. I just thought it was a lovely image of Ferguson standing behind Becks with a hairdryer saying, "Go anywhere nice for your holidays?"
I would say the majority of players that have played under him have experienced it at one stage or another. It's a frightening thing, you know. His face goes all red and he's frothing at the mouth and his fists are clenched behind him, and you're always worried he's going to throw a right hook at you.
He needs to be seen as strong, as consistent, and as powerful within that team, which is precisely why that he cannot let any other of the individual players challenge that position.
Fergie's used to the pressure at the top of the table, but is the job of manager more stressful in the lower divisions, when there isn't multi-million-pound talent in the dressing room? To find out, we were given exclusive access to spend the day with Wycombe Wanderers boss Lawrie Sanchez. As a player, Lawrie created the greatest upset in football history. He scored the winning goal in the 1988 FA Cup final, when Wimbledon's crazy gang beat the mighty Liverpool. Lawrie kept up his giant-killing tradition when he took over as Wycombe manager, leading them to the quarter-final of the 2001 FA Cup. His second division team took on Premiership Leicester, and Lawrie hit the headlines with his touchline antics. The game was poised at 1-1 when this happened.
It's another free kick and another chance for Wycombe, you feel, as Brown takes it. Well met from Matt Elliott.
Mr. Sanchez thought this was handball. The referee didn't.
I started walking towards him and I thought, this is going to cost me now.
Sanchez is he's absolutely furious. As you can see there, with the referee's assistant, he's going to get himself into trouble.
I thought, oh, sod it, I'm on my way, I may as well go the whole hog. So I walked from the dugout, past the technical area, past Pete Taylor, who's looked at me, thought, where the hell's he going? I walked all the way down to the linesman, who must have been 40, 50 yards away, to tell him my point of view on it. And of course the referee's come across, and you could lip read every word I was saying. And I watch it and I think, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I've done that.
Lawrie was ordered from the touchline and was forced to watch the rest of the game on a monitor in the dressing room.
Lawrie Sanchez now watching our pictures.
Then, in the last minute of extra time, Wycombe grabbed a dramatic winner.
It's Isando!
When I see that now, that clip, I think, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe that I showed so much emotion, you know, because it's completely out of character.
So has Lawrie learned to curb his temper?
You didn't see that?
Obviously not.
You know, that's no movements. Danny, can you have it early, Danny? Set it up early.
This is a crucial match for Laurie's Wycombe, as they are still in with a chance of making the playoffs, but need to beat league leaders Wigan.
Sender! Go on, man! Do it. Danny, that's all you need to do. I'll knock it byline, get cross in. You ain't got to beat people, just knock it past them and use your pace.
Fans like to see the manager as tied up in the game as they are. He's doing it on their behalf and really using all their energy and flowing it out onto the field. Whether it does any good or not, it's a debatable one, but they like to see it. They like to see him up there with their troops.
Ted, can we get some balls out, for fuck's sake?
At half-time, Wycombe are losing 1-0 and have been outplayed by Wigan.
We haven't started yet. We haven't been a shadow of the team we were in the last 8 games. They've scored after 9 minutes 36 seconds. Because they were brighter for their first 10 minutes. Now they've got 3 points, they think. Let's make sure they haven't.
At times it gets to you, and at times when you've seen a poor performance, you do let loose, and it's more for your own good at times than for the players.
Jockey, fucking get there quick. If you blow up, we'll take you off. Let's have a real go. If we're going to lose, let's have a real go for him going full tilt at you. Yeah? Yeah? OK, let's show them what we're about.
Boy, boy! Hey, come on, bring off that,
Despite Laurie's half-time team talk, Wickham can't break through.
Hey, Ref! That's the foul. Hey, he's in charge of the ball, Ref!
And then, to frustrate Laurie even more, they have a penalty appeal turned down.
Hey! Hey! Fuck it out! Fuck off! Hey! Can't you see that, you...
Do you want to lose a seat?
Fucking joke! You didn't see that?
Once you start walking, you can't stop and walk back. So I'm walking, I'm thinking, it's going to cost me thousands of pounds. I know this is going to cost me a lot of money.
Then, to make matters worse, Wigan are awarded a penalty. Wickham 0, Wigan 2. And watch out, ref, here comes Laurie again. Young Laurie is showing good potential as a mad manager, but he's got a long way to go to reach the high standards of his elders. But just who are the maddest managers of all time? At number 3, former Leyton Orient manager John Sitton. In 1995, Sitton took over as manager of Leyton Orient. The club was in dire financial trouble and was bottom of the second division. But Sitton thought he was the man for the job.
Didn't quit as a player, ain't going to start quitting now.
He got the job at Orient simply because nobody else wanted it. No one would touch that job. It was a poison chalice. And bless his heart, he did go mad. Because he wasn't mad. He was quite a stable fella, John Sitton.
What I will fucking guarantee you is this, I'm fucking telling you, and I'll fucking front any one of you. You think you can fuck with me and my career and give me and him heart attacks on the touchline, you'll be replaced.
Suddenly all this pressure came, bang, 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 and he just went mad.
I can hear a man in there with a voice like mine Monday.
I mean, things made that man angry.
Fuck what Sid says and what we do in training, we'll do our own thing.
Leaves falling off trees.
Fuck the technical shit.
Keep the leaves on a tree!
It's down to this.
Can't anybody do anything?
You're a fucking disgrace.
I'll do it.
No more to be said. Fuck off out on the pitch, the lot of you.
With Orient heading for relegation and the crowd on his back, John Sitton finally cracked after his team let in 3 goals in an appalling first half display.
He's offered someone out in the dressing room, one of the other players.
So you little when I tell you to do something, and you fucking big tell you to do something, do it. And if you come back at me, we'll have a fucking right sort out in here. All right? And you can pair up if you like, and you can fucking pick someone else to help you, and you can bring your fucking dinner.
What does that mean? What? Because I'm going to beat you up for so long that you'll have to have a meal break in the middle of it?
Because by the time I'm finished with you, you'll fucking need it. Do you fucking hear what I'm saying or not?
And all the other players sitting around like those Barrow schoolboys, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. They're clearly, he's gone mad. There's a camera there, look, boss, there's a camera. They're filming you.
Then, incredibly, he sacked defender Terry Howard.
If you come back at me, you'll be off the field and you'll be following Terry down the road. You come and see me tomorrow, you've got a fortnight's notice. Because that performance is the straw that broke the camel's back.
How angry have you got to be to sack somebody at half-time? Just sack him, not even substitute him. Sack him.
And it's like, what? Now? Well, can I get the coach home? No, you're sacked, you're finished.
Terry's an ex-teammate of mine, who I like very, very much. He's good company when you go for a night out. But as a manager and a coach, he's not what I'm looking for. So I may have lost a friend. By tomorrow, I would have recovered.
People do take it too seriously, and they do go mad.
At number 2 in the maddest managers of all time is Barry Fry. Shy, retiring Barry hates being the centre of attention.
I'm a very fiery manager, I'm a very passionate manager. If we score, I'm absolutely jump up for joy. If it goes in the wrong end, I'm very, very, very sad.
A nice lunatic.
The most barking manager of all time.
Barry is famous for modest celebrations when his team scores.
I like being entertaining. I think it's very, very important that we give the fans something to shout about. I don't want to be known as a boring manager. Sometimes I'll run out on the field or run down the touchline. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's a passionate game. I'm celebrating when my team score a goal.
But when things aren't going well, he isn't afraid to let his players know.
Get out there and do your own fucking job!
If things aren't going well at half-time, I go in and have a ruck with them and tell them, I need to liven you up and I've got to try something. I insult them on purpose because I want to get a reaction out of my players. I'm upset. I ain't happy with the performance. So I want you to get out there and pull your finger out and do a bit better.
Oh, fuck off! Fucking fuck off!
Sometimes I grab them by the throat.
You don't fucking
Sometimes they grab me back. Not a problem, you know. It's a passionate game.
Defend the fucking back post!
Yeah, it's all in the heat of the moment.
Yes!
Barry's always been a bit of a wheeler-dealer type of manager.
I used to have a mallet that I used to, once I'd done a deal with, I used to whack it.
Talk to the fat bastard in the blue blazer!
I've lost that. I don't know who nicked it. I don't know if it was one of the players or what, but I threatened them all sorts and never got it back, that's for sure.
Barry had spent most of his managerial career in the backwaters of lower league football. But in 1995, he was given the chance at Birmingham City, a big club in even bigger trouble.
When your team's getting excited about signing Barry Fry to manage you,
Better than all the rest.
I think the alarm bells are ringing.
How are you, pal?
He's the kind of guy who really lifts the club in terms of spirit.
When you go in here, mate, you really get the awe and you really get excited when you go in here.
But not up the table, unfortunately.
In Barry's first 3 months, the team won just 2 games. Then Barry heard the club carried a curse that had ended the career of several managers, so a friendly groundsman told Barry what was needed.
He said to get rid of the gypsy's curse, I got a P in the 4 corners of the ground. So you try it, don't you? It's very difficult, you know. To pee in this corner flag and walk 80 yards behind the goal and do another little dribble and then walk 120 yards, stand there and do that and finish up another 80 yards there. Very, very difficult. You try it. It took me 3 days. Anyway, it must have worked because things started to improve. In our last 10 games, we won 7, drew 2 and lost 1.
It ain't over yet, till the fat lady sings.
But the undisputed maddest manager of them all is Brian Clough.
During the season, you've experienced some of the pressures that drive football managers mad.
Yeah, well, I've experienced them all.
Don't stop me, don't stop me, don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey! Don't stop me, don't stop me.
Old Big Ed himself was the craziest of them all, and the manager that no one dared stop.
Fluffy, the legend!
I should settle for first place, of course. Anybody that had settled for less is crackers.
One of the great managers in football.
He's the nutter's nutter.
The man was a complete one-off.
Even Souness and Ferguson would go, no, Brian's the man. He's the one we aspire to. One day we'll be as mad as Clough.
Brian Clough, some soccer player or something. Whoever you are, I'm the talker. Now, Clough, I've had enough. Stop it.
Well, are you going to stop it?
No, I want to fight him.
Legend of legends of all football managers.
Do you ever agree with anything anybody says?
Certainly.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Not. Give us a kiss.
Brian Clough was a maverick manager who's renowned for his erratic behaviour.
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking.
The madness of Brian Clough can be summed up with the fact that he had to have his liver removed recently. I think that dotted a lot of I's and crossed a lot of T's.
Oh, now then, this drinks cabinet is a shambles, and Cloughie is the man to knock you back into shape.
Cloughie's like the sort of pissed uncle by the side of the fire, just shouting at the family at the end of an evening. Young man, I've told you.
I manage the team. What do you do?
Whiskey, I want you to take up a position in the middle. Grand Marnier, going to push you right back, and I want you to stay there till Christmas.
On one of his drunken days, I saw him in the sauna, fully clothed, in a suit and tie. That was his sort of drying out time, when he'd had a drink, to sweat the drink out of him in the sauna.
Clough was a manager who liked to throw his weight around.
Brian, now be honest about this. I'm honest about everything.
He could start a sentence by punching you full in the face and end it by hugging you as though you were his best mate.
Well, that was rather a secret, Brian.
You've got a man whose job is to manage other young men, and he does it to a large extent by punching them full in the face.
There are more hooligans in the House of Commons than there are on the football fields in this country.
Even one of football's true hard men felt the rough side of Clough's unique managerial technique.
Roy Keane is now the hardest person at Old Trafford, but he wasn't ever the hardest person at the City Ground. I mean, Ferguson kick a stray boot unintentionally, but to actually physically punch a player after a game, and he left him on the floor apparently, it's just like, wow.
Sometimes young players do get carried away, and Clough pulled him down a peg or two, and he accepted that.
And after Forest goalkeeper Mark Crossley had a terrible game against Aston Villa, the young man knew he was in for the Clough treatment.
When things happen like that, when we all see it, we all know you're going to get it, mate. And it was almost like a sprint off the pitch to get into a position where you can actually see it all happen.
Not only does he lash into him verbally, he physically picks him up and hangs him on the hook in the dressing room.
By the way, the pegs are very high at Aston Villa. It was a strange thing to see. We were all in shock, but we also laughed as well. We all thought it was funny at the time. We also made sure that Brian Clough didn't see us laugh, because we would have been there with him.
Only in Nottingham, only with Clough.
And it wasn't just his players that Clough laid into. Following a pitch invasion at the City Ground, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Clough took the law into his own hands. Well, fists, that is.
Nottingham Forest fans were often insulted by Brian, but he went on because he thought the bloke should be cleared off.
Drunken old bloke in a tracksuit who's punched me in the face.
I will strike you, I will strike you.
If you happen to be passing in front of you, smack!
I think he was just thinking, you know, I'm your daddy, take one.
Actually, I thought as a Queen's Park Rangers fan of it, mate.
I was in shock, and I thought Brian Clough would not be there the next day.
I'm surprised he didn't get a prison sentence for assault or something.
The supporters respected him. Those supporters that he thumped come back and apologise for him for going on his pitch. Now, there's not often you see that.
They had a little press conference afterwards with the bloke that he punched, and he'd shake his hand, and Brian Clough gives him this big, beery kiss.
He let them kiss him on the cheek, which I just thought was genius, absolute genius.
Football managers go mad. We've witnessed their antics both on the pitch and in the dressing room.
I can hear a man in there with a voice like mine Monday.
But even when the poor football player leaves the ground, he isn't safe from the wrath of the boss. It's not just in the dressing room that Alex Ferguson and David Beckham go head-to-head. Fergie has never taken kindly to the outside influences in Beck's life.
I think their relationship's based on Ferguson despising all the celebrity aspects of Beckham's lifestyle. The hello wedding spreads, the posh spice influence.
He sees her as this idiot social butterfly, flitting from party to opening to catwalk and taking his best asset with her at the same time.
The night before, we went on a Champions League game to Sturm Graz in Austria. Beckham was at a fashion show wearing a bandana, which Ferguson thought made him look ridiculous. He didn't want him in London at a fashion show the night before they fly out. Next day, he's furious and carpets Beckham.
Beckham, you know, is a London, he's a bit flash at times, you know. I think it's just the makeup of the London people, to be honest with you. I think it's something in the water down there, you know.
But Becks isn't alone. Fergie likes to keep tabs on the private lives of all his players.
No player can step out of line without Alex Ferguson finding out about it.
It's legendary in Manchester that there are a network of people whose job is to keep an eye out on the clubs and the pubs and the restaurants and see who's out.
Alex, I've just seen Nicky, but he's gone out for a Chinese takeaway and it's 1:30 in the morning.
They always find out what players do anyway.
And Lee Sharp was to find this out to his cost. Fergie was attending a sportsman's dinner when one of his spies informed him that Sharp was holding a party.
So he, of course, like, steam coming out of his ears, he leaves this sportsman's dinner early. Drives straight to my house, knocks on the door.
Ryan Giggs is there.
Having a party.
There's girls there.
Young fellas.
There's noise.
Lots of money.
Music.
A bit of jacuzzi action. Whatever.
It's all going off.
So it looked like a full-blown party stroke orgy, and he got hold of me and just sort of said, sit yourselves down, I need a chat with you. So he stood by the front door and clipped everyone round the back of the head as they walked out. Sat me and Giggsy down and give us pretty much the roasting of our lives.
How embarrassing is that when you're Lee Sharp, when you're that age? You know, some bloke who you're not even related to comes and ends the party.
About 5 minutes after the manager left, Giggsy drove home about 120 mile an hour in his little Escort Popular Plus. I think the steering wheel was shaking, everything. We both thought we were in for the sack the next morning.
It was a classic story because it said everything about his rule over those players. To him, they're not well-paid stars, they're not multi-millionaires. They are his players playing for Manchester United, and that's all that counts for him.
It wasn't acceptable here because football's a serious matter here, and the day before a game is they should be resting. Simple as that.
While Fergie thrives on keeping his players in check, some managers can find it all a bit too much. Pressure and stress are part of a manager's everyday life. But dealing with temperamental players, troublesome media and dodgy referees can take its toll.
Pressure, pushing down on me, pressing down on you.
In recent years, a number of top managers have suffered heart attacks due to the rigours of the job.
He's lucky to be alive and he knows it. Joe Kinnear is back at home.
Is expected to issue a statement on Mr Souness's condition early this evening.
Looking fit and relaxed, Gerard Houllier was last night honoured by the people of
got this excruciating pain. It was though like a safe had fallen out.
The game's like a drug to us. We know the dangers, but we all can't give it up.
The surprise to me is that there aren't more of them dropping like flies.
When your team scores, you just go crazy. That exultation just is unparalleled, really, in normal life.
10 is when you can't handle it, when it's not worth the job. You know, why bury yourself? Why put yourself in a coffin? You know, so that's 10. So it'll never be 10, but it's 9.
I've had 2 heart attacks, you know, it's as simple as that. But football keeps me going, it keeps me boiling over and keeps my blood flowing around my arteries.
To find out about the potential dangers of being a football manager, Sam Allardyce, boss of Premiership Bolton, agreed to be wired up to a heart monitor during a crucial relegation match against Leicester City. Sam starts the match relaxed in the stand.
Not got to anchor as much playing in a 2.
But as soon as one of his players gets in trouble with the ref, he rushes down to the touchline.
Sometimes you have to, I think, let your feelings go and you have to let people just know how you feel.
What are you doing booking him for that? Hey! Hey! What's he doing booking him enough savage over there?
His blood pressure shoots up as his vocabulary comes down.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful. Disgraceful, that. It's a disgrace.
Disgraceful. Sam's heart rate has doubled.
There's times when you can no longer keep yourself calm, when you're just not satisfied with the performance of your players and you're just not getting out of them what you want.
And things get even worse for Sam.
Stood down on the bench thinking to yourself, you know, what have you done today to deserve this? Like, I mean, have you ran over a black cat? Have you beat your grandmother up?
His team's luck is about to change, but can Sam's heart cope? There are just seconds left in the game.
Over the top! over the top.
Bolton have one last attack. They've done it, but Sam's heart is fit to burst, beating at 3 times its normal rate.
You know, I fight and fight and fight to keep getting better and wiser and perhaps a little more calmer, I don't know.
While Sam tries to calm down for his health's sake, he'll never be as ice cool as the new breed of managers entering our game.
Foreign managers, of course, more sophisticated than we are, that's a given.
A bit more reserved.
In their heart of hearts, they know that football is a game and that we really shouldn't be getting that wound up about it.
The most successful foreign manager in England is Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger, who actually looks more like Professor Yaffle than a football manager. Indeed, Wenger has a degree in psychology, which means he doesn't fall for Alex Ferguson's mind games.
Ferguson says things like, oh, Arsenal, very, very good team. Well, Henry's a very good player.
And Arsenal have won today with a much experienced and stronger team. I don't think they're as good a football team as us.
Wenger just blanks the mind games.
He'll make the league interesting for everybody.
And I think that really rattles Ferguson.
As you'll find out, and they will find out, they will start dropping points towards the end of the season. There's no question about that. It's inevitable.
Wenger just sits back, relaxed. It's like water off a duck's back.
I always look at Arsene Wenger and he's too calm. I think one day you will see Arsene Wenger's photograph in the newspaper with the caption, "Before turning the gun on himself."
As Frenchman Wenger, the nonchalant manager, had achieved great success at Arsenal, North London rivals Tottenham thought it was also time to go a little continental. Ah, Switzerland, home of watches, cows, cheese, and football manager Christian Gross.
Christian who?
My name is Christian Gross, born in Zurich, Switzerland.
Spurs thought Gross would make a pleasant change from the ranting and raving British manager. But unfortunately, once he'd clocked on, he turned out to be...
And he wandered in from Young Boys Band or Grasshoppers or Wacker Innsbruck or something.
He was a manager of Grasshoppers in Zurich.
Even Christian Gross said, I'm going for this interview at Tottenham, I probably won't get it.
But he did.
And he must have thought, oh my God, this is like a proper football team.
Not only was it a proper football club, but it had a proper press conference as well.
Listen here, I'll show you my ticket. Here.
He broke out like a raving lunatic.
I think and I hope it will be my ticket of the dream, of my dream. It's an underground ticket from London Heathrow.
Look, I've come on the train, like a fan.
You know, I've come on the tube, I'm that kind of guy. You know, can you win football matches, you know? Nice that you come on the tube.
And that went down like a lead balloon. No one understood what he was talking about, me included.
I wanted to make the same way that Tottenham fans are going to do next Monday.
I thought to myself, my God, you don't know where you are, mate. You do not know where you are.
If you look in the car park at Tottenham, there's a Mercedes, there's BMWs, there's Jags. No Tottenham fan travels by tube. So you're the only idiot that has travelled by tube to get to White Hart Lane?
The guy was doomed. He was doomed from day one.
Gross lasted just 9 months at Spurs and then bought a ticket back to Cuckoo Land. His ways were a bit foreign for the British. We prefer our football managers to be all singing, all dancing, and downright mad.
You can hear a man in there with a voice like mine Monday.
And watch out, David Beckham and co. They're here to stay.
I mean, people may question, after hearing all this, why the heck do we want to be manager?
No more to be said. Fuck off out on the pitch, the lot of you.
Because we love it.
Football is a drug, and once you've taken that drug, you cannot come off it.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Every day you get up in the morning, you know it's never going to be the same as the day before.
If you win it, it's the greatest job in the world. But if you lose, it's not very pleasant.
I'm just a fan at heart. lucky enough to pick a football team.